This is the real reason that dating apps are a complete waste of time for the majority of people, and I have not seen a single person break it down like this yet. I really wish I had some better data to go off of, but I'm an information systems major, so I'm gonna apply some stats here. My best guess is that 5% of people on the apps are in actual relationships and they're looking to cheat on their partner. That's unfortunately probably low, but I'm trying to be optimistic. Another 15% are fresh out of a breakup. They are trying to ease their pain and get under or over somebody as quickly as possible. Also probably low, but we're gonna go with it. Now there's another 25% of people just looking for hookups, fun, whatever it is. And yes, I know that the apps have that like feature saying looking for something casual, but the majority of people actually looking for something casual aren't going to put that because they know their chances are way higher if they act like they actually want something with somebody.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid. Now wait just a minute. And you're ugly, just like your mum.
You know what? I gotta admit, I am not an information systems major. In fact, I don't know anything about how systems use information for their majors, but I did sleep in the back of my intergalactic space car last night, so I think that makes me more than qualified to talk about the subject of dating apps. You see, lady, dating apps are nothing more than digital cigarettes. They give you all sorts of attention, they're readily available, and incredibly addictive. And after endless consumption of this product, it leaves you diagnosed with terminal cancer of the soul. Sure, dating apps are filled with people looking to cheat and hook up, but the real problem here is that these apps were not designed to help you find a meaningful relationship. They were designed to keep you alone so you stay logged in and using the product. That's why you ignore any man that's average looking while trying to lock down Chet Maverick with less than spectacular results. And I don't need a fancy degree in technology science to tell you that.
Now, I'd say at least 30% of people have a dating app, but they're not actively using it. Or if they are, it's really just to match with people and message them for fun, not actively really wanting to go on dates. A lot of people just want instant validation. They just want to see what's out there, feel like they should be on the apps because why wouldn't you be if you're single? A lot of people experience burnout on the apps. They just go in every now and then to check in, but they know that it's not actually a source that like they think that they could find somebody on. That's the majority of my friends.
You're amazing. You figured this all out already.
You know what, I have to call it. That statistic seems arguably a little bit on the low side, and it's only a symptom of a larger, much more nefarious issue. Take a walk with me down tinfoil lane for a second and you'll see what I mean. We've already established that these apps are addictive by design. Modern women use these apps as an easy fix for validation. Even as they make the transition from valuable to old maid status, they get significantly more attention than the average male user. So as she gets older, she keeps the delusion that her choices are way more extensive than they actually are. And the longer she uses these apps, the more likely she's to remain alone because every man she comes across will never be good enough. She'll grow bitter, miserable, and alone as her eggs spoil and her bed remains empty, thus adding to the massive depopulation crisis that's looming over our heads like the sword of frickin' Damocles. It also has the added effect of increasing the distribution of psychopharmaceutical medications and a whole slew of other means to control the human population. Is what I would say if those weren't just conspiracy theories that were backed by misinformed disinformation from the Ruskies, wink wink nudge nudge.
And then somewhere in that 80%, there are people that like have a situationship, are still talking to their ex, like they are looking but not really looking, leaving only about 20% wanting and actively looking for a relationship. Now out of that 20%, you have to find somebody that you're equally attracted to and like actually have potential with, which isn't necessarily the best odds. So like, is it possible to find people? Yes, of course. But because of all of these people on it for all the wrong reasons, it oversaturates the app and makes it very difficult, therefore wasting a lot of people's time. Let me know what you guys think, but definitely my experience.
So get off your act, let's do some math.
Let's crunch your numbers. According to your gibberish, the user base of dating apps are as follows. 5% are cheaters, 15% are looking for rebounds, 25% are looking for hookups, and 30% are validation addicts, with 20% looking for legitimate relationships. This totals 95%. And the sad part is you claim to be getting a college education, and you use this as a means to try to prove to the internet that you're a smart. But I don't see how you can be a smart when you can't do basic addition, and when you're ignoring the most cataloged piece of data as to why these apps don't work. For years, it has been well documented that 80 to 90% of the female user base of these apps are only interested in the top 5% of male users, thus leaving the remaining 95% of men to be ignored by women. There isn't enough math in the world to prove that you'll avoid accountability at all costs, and you're an information systems major, which apparently doesn't require any mathematical skills, and that really gives me hope for the future of our civilization.
I quit. I quit. I quit.
With the way my dating life is going right now, I feel like I'm gonna be single for a long time. Like a long time. I literally just cannot stand. I cannot stand these vanilla men. You're boring. You don't intrigue me. And at this point, I'm like losing faith in all men. I just feel like they all want one thing. And if that's what you want, I'm the wrong bitch. Go somewhere else. I cannot tell another man what I like to do on my free time. I can't do it. And I don't give my attention to anybody. And when I'm finally like, oh, like he's cute, like let me talk to him. You're boring! You're boring! You suck.
Speak for yourself, moron.
Oh my god, that is funny!
In the name of equality, I think it's only fair that I be perfectly honest with this woman, because I have literally met piles of rabbit turds that are more intellectually stimulating than you. I can't help but wonder what that rabbit is doing, just out there in the fields, doing the rabbit things, eating plants and keeping an eye out for predators and just living the rabbit life. You, on the other hand, gives me the insight of what it's like to be a brainless, judgmental, and unpleasant individual. The reason why you can't tell men what you like to do in your spare time is because you don't do anything. You have no hobbies, no interests outside of social media, and you're incapable of finding anything meaningful in your life. So you rely on the men you quote-unquote date to be secret agent, contraband smuggling, high society diamond thieves who like to take out average women for sushi when they're not trying to thwart Dr. Chaotica from conquering the planet with his legion of mutated fire ants. But that's not how it works, sister. You don't get to blame the men because you can't find any joy in your life. It's your life, therefore it's your problem.
And I feel like from past experiences, I have the tendency to pick the shitty ones. So like, I'm just gonna stay away. I'm done. I'm logging off. No more for Bella right now. And yeah, maybe I do get a little bit jealous when I see couples out in public. I'm like, damn, that looks nice. Haven't done that in a long time. When is it my turn? When is it my turn? At the end of the day, it's not my plan. So, we're just chilling.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
I got a case of good news, bad news here. The bad news is that there's no way for me to put this delicately, but the good news is that I don't really care. You had your chance and you pissed it away after you assumed that you were entitled to a specific caliber of man. You like to pity yourself by saying that there's no good men, but here's the truth. The amount of men that would have given you a fairly good life were numerous enough to fill about 10,000 double-decker buses. But now that number has dwindled down thanks to you calling a majority of men boring. And if you think any man's gonna want to give you a turn after you've blatantly insulted him, then you're a lot dumber than I give you credit for, and that's a pretty sad story. You need to face the facts, sweetheart. You're screaming into a mirror. It's a classic case of projection. The men you desire reject you because at the end of the day, you are incapable of having an interesting conversation. You can't add anything of any intellectual merit to a man's interests, and you don't do anything meaningful with your time that doesn't involve gawking at men at the gym and buying makeup. To put it bluntly,
you're boring! You're fucking dull! You have nothing to say! You are a one-hived mind twat waffle!
The attractive men are not at the bars anymore. You know where they are on a Friday night? Gym. I mean, once late at night yesterday. On a Friday night. Tattoos. Muscles. Brunettes. Men.
Oh, this is just so shocking. I mean, I must just be so monumentally naive.
You are.
Yeah, some men are at the gym on Friday nights, other men are at work, and some of us are over at Skeeter's house playing army pong. That's ping pong, except there's a whole bunch of green plastic army men all over the table, and the ping pong ball represents artillery strikes. Now, you'd think this would ruin the game and slow it down, but you'd be wrong. It actually requires some strategy, and it finds yet another use for those green plastic army men. I am telling you, their uses continue to be endless. But I digress. Those men you see at the gym are there late at night because there's less of a chance of being bothered by modern women because they know it's more likely they'll be out at the bars trying to make yet another questionable decision in a life that's chock full of endless blunders. It's the only way for these men to be able to work out in peace and not be bothered. So do those dudes a favor and leave them the hell alone.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
I encountered a real life red pill man extremist in the wild. Let me tell you about it.
Should be interesting.
So I went for a drink with my friend to this bar that he used to work at. And like we were sitting on the back patio when his friend, who was a bartender, came outside and started like chatting with us while he was having a smoke. Now it came out within like 5 odd minutes that this guy had very extremist views. Started with him being super right-wing politically. And like a Trump lover. Me being me, I engaged in some conversation. Hindsight 2020, probably shouldn't have. So like we start getting into it. We obviously have very polar opposite views. But like truly, I was just trying to like make one clear point to him. Because I said that, you know, Trump was super misogynistic and he was like, no, he's not. And I'm like, okay, that's your opinion, but also so that you understand where I'm coming from. As a woman, I think I can tell you what is and isn't misogynistic because we're the one that experiences it. Just like I can't tell you what your experience is like as a man, you know what I mean? Because it's just, we live 2 different lives.
You don't know what words mean, do you?
I hate to break it to you, sister, but just because you pack a poorly recycled garbage bag of biological regret betwixt your legs doesn't mean you know anything about misogyny. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You can't even provide a definition for that word. You just see it as an all-encompassing blanket for whenever someone calls you out for your gynocentric, politically motivated views. If a man says something that offends you, it immediately becomes an attack on you because of your chromosome makeup, thus making you feel like you are allowed to treat that man like dirt. And on the flip side of that wonderful coin, all you do is assume that men live lives of privilege. And even though women have the full support of corporate America, the job market, social media, mainstream entertainment, as well as in the government, while men are constantly being bashed for no other reason outside of having the nerve to be born. By acting like a victim, you get even more attention and validation, even though you're not a victim. You are not oppressed, you're not even being mistreated. You're an immature child who judges people over their political views while still being able to legally consume alcohol, and that is kind of terrifying.
But he didn't want to hear it. He didn't like that at all. Now, as the night progressed, it just kept getting worse because I found out also that he was like an Andrew Tate lover and one of those. That's racist! So then I just couldn't help it. Quite literally any point that he was making, I would respond like this. Oh, does that hurt your feelings? Oh my gosh, you're so sensitive. Because I'm an asshole. But he was getting so fired up and then literally being like, I'm not even offended, like, shut the f up, like, you're just so fucking annoying. Like, it's so funny.
Whoa.
Alrighty, so we already know that you're full of dookie. Here's what we know. First, you started this story by saying that this guy was on a cigarette break from work. Now, unless this man was on a union-mandated 3-hour smoke break, he chatted with you for 5, maybe 6 minutes tops. Then he went back to work, which means that he most likely spent the majority of that time behind the bar and not arguing with you, which would mean that you would have to physically come up to him and bring up talking points while he's trying to earn a living. Second, you're trying to paint yourself as the morally superior one, even though you are the one who's resorting to childish mockery and bullying tactics just to get under this guy's skin. Either way, you're clearly in the wrong and you're trying to paint yourself as a victim, which is a pathetic thing to do. We all know the truth, woman. You got drunk and you were harassing a bartender because he didn't find you attractive.
And like this continues throughout the night, but then at the end is where he really lost it. We were like about to leave, and I'm gonna have to switch up the words here so that it doesn't really get like taken down this video. But first he called me fat, then he called me that he said I was built like an Oompa Loompa. LOL. So I could tell man was hurting. And then he called me a rhymes with dumb dumpster and rhymes with floor.
Why not? If the shit fits, wear.
But then also proceeds to be like, I'm not offended. No, you're fucking annoying. Like he was so hurt. And I'm sitting there like still fucking laughing. Like I'm enjoying the shit out of this. But I was super annoyed with my friend who I went with. First of all, for even being friends with someone like that is fucking wild. That's racist! But then also he like didn't step in whatsoever and be like, hey dude, shut up. My friend said that he had the same views as me, but I don't know. You seem pretty tolerant of some other people in your life.
So we left. And afterwards I voiced my opinion to my friend, and I actually don't think I'm going to continue to be friends with that guy because that was pretty fucked up. And you are the company that you keep. And I know I'm gonna have some of y'all haters in the comments telling me, you just shouldn't have even engaged. Why were you egging him on? Why are you making fun of him? Why would I not? Anyway, peace out from the Oompa Loompas.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
Woman, how dare you adopt the moniker of Oompa Loompa? Oompa Loompas help make chocolate in a whimsical factory and provide actual joy to the children of the world. And with that pleasantry out of the way, the reason why your friend didn't step in to fight on your behalf is because he knew that his bartending buddy was right, and he was just following the golden rule of brotherhood.
Brothers before wars, David.
And he wasn't about to ruin a friendship just for the chance of some drunken smashy smash time with you. If you were drinking with this guy's friend and he's calling you an overweight, avenue-strolling receptacle of genetic material, then it's probably for good reason, or you were intentionally trying to get a rise out of him. And I'm willing to bet after that whole ordeal, he didn't want to see you naked after seeing the way you were acting. You publicly embarrassed this guy by immaturely tormenting his friend, and yet you sit there and act like you're the morally superior one. You act like your views make you enlightened, accepting, and tolerant of all people, but the second you meet someone who disagrees with you, you feel the overwhelming urge to bully, mock, and annoy him in the most basic way possible. So it wouldn't surprise me if your friend cut ties with you first. You're about as toxic as you are stupid. And that is going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video. Stay classy, and until next time, peace out, homies.